So, hello, I'm Kat. You can find me at katbyles.com, and I'm here with Jules Wyman, who is a confidence coach and speaker. And this is the first of our PR with Heart interviews, Women with a Message. And Jules was one of the participants in the PR with Heart online course. And I was particularly inspired by her message, which she's going to go into more in a second. And I just wanted to take this opportunity to get to know Jules a little bit more and to introduce her purpose and message to you. So hello, Jules.
Hi, Kat.
Thank you. And so can you start by sharing what your purpose and your message is?
So my purpose is around shattering the illusions that are wrapped around confidence. And it's about providing a safe space for people to strip back the pretense so that they can relax into being who they really are. And knowing that living with authentic confidence really is possible.
Okay, and your message, that was the last part was your...
Yeah, that's the message, yeah, that authentic confidence is possible. Because I think we're given so many conflicted messages that it's really important to understand that it doesn't matter where you're coming from, it is possible to understand it and get it for yourself.
So what are some of the myths? So you talk about this pretense around confidence. What are some of the myths and the pretenses around confidence?
So one of the key ones, and why I talk about pretense, is because we're quite often told that, you just have to fake it till you make it, or act as if you've got confidence, or pretend and it will come along. And actually whilst that can be a great starting point and useful to get going, when people do it over a continued period of time, what can happen is they can end up feeling that they are continually pretending. Builds then and feeds into what's known as the imposter syndrome. People start to feel like a fraud, and then they start to worry that they're going to get caught out. So that's one of the myths that needs to be stripped back and understood what's going on underneath that, so that the person can get clarity and be authentically themselves.
Because I guess really you're just practicing faking it.
Well, yeah. Ultimately, you're practicing being somebody that you think that you're not anyway. Yeah. So then, what then happens is ironically, any positivity and feedback that you get, we kind of go, well, that's because I was pretending, and we associate it to this character that we've created. Any negative feedback, we go, well, that's because I was pretending, so I'll take it on because I'm a bad person. So the positive stuff goes past us, and the negative stuff we collect, which is just not helpful. It's just not a helpful way of being at all. And then that kind of, in some senses, we can end the other myths, which is around that confidence comes from other people. And we can actively then start seeking somebody else to give us confidence. We just need a confidence boost. Just need somebody else to tell it to us and have confidence in us. And actually, that's not how it works either. One of my stock phrases is that confidence is an inside job. It really comes from who you are, how you speak about yourself, how you talk to yourself about yourself. And that's not an easy, if only that was an easy one to just kind of go, here you go, here's the formula, just crack that one open. The shift with that starts to happen when you take personal responsibility for your own confidence. Mm-hmm. There are a number of myths that arrogance is the same thing as confidence, and it's just not. That you have to have full competency in something to have full confidence in something, and that's not true either. There's the thing that confidence is there all the time, and that's kind of a double-edged one because it is there all the time. I always perceive it like the sun, that confidence is like the sun, it's always there. It's just that there are occasions where there are clouds in the way, and sometimes we can see through those clouds and that's transparent, and other times they can seem really thick. So it seems like the sun has gone, or the confidence has gone, but actually it's just recognizing those clouds and how to get those clouds moving, or at least be comfortable on those grey, dark days that the clouds will move.
And what to you is confidence?
Well, a key starting point is to take it back to its Latin derivation, which comes from the two words of confidere. Con meaning with, and fidere meaning trust. So lovely. Confidence means with trust. Hence why my online coaching program is called the Trust System. Okay. So when you're talking about self-confidence, actually what you're talking about is having trust within yourself. which then people go into, that means, oh, well, that means I've got to get it right or be perfect or be in control. And it's like, no, actually, it's about trusting yourself to have a go, not fearing to be wrong, being comfortable with being uncomfortable. And so there's all of those kinds of different understandings around it, but the base of it really starts with self-trust.
That's fascinating, because I think as women we're beginning to trust a lot more our intuition and our inner wisdom, and are becoming more confident around in that. I know I certainly am, and the women that I'm working with are as well.
Well, linking it back to PR with heart, it's about finding your voice. It's about getting that clarity and being able to communicate that with trust, because we live in a very judgmental environment that doesn't matter where we are in the world. We have a human mind, and the human mind is based on judgment. It needs to evaluate the external world against what it perceives that it is anyway. So it's always going to be making those judgments, but it's about how to trust what is a useful judgment to keep us really genuinely physically safe, versus a made up judgment, which is a psychological perceived safety, and actually how we can shift that and learn to go with our own trust and speak out even when we're not sure. And as women, we've had many years, and there are many, unfortunately, places around the world still where women don't have a voice, aren't trusted to speak out. So it is a learning process for us all, I think, and it's definitely one that I've been through.
Yeah, I kind of continually go on. That's brilliant. I love that. And so when you're working with people, what's some of the impacts that you've seen from people having this confidence, having this self-trust? What is it? What's the impact on a person when they do have that?
Links back into trusting their intuition. So some of the clients, I mean, the moment you said that, I can see their faces pop up in front of me, which is really lovely. So there are so many different things. There's a lady that has had the kind of upbringing that you wouldn't wish on your worst enemy. And when I met her, she was contemplating leaving the planet. Mm-hmm. And now she's in a job she loves. She's working with young people. She's now got her own house. She's got her own dog, and she's really looking to how she keeps saying, how can I translate this information with the young people? And she's only just under 30. So to me, that's phenomenal, knowing that there's a ripple effect there, and the impact that she's had not only on her own life, but potentially can now have people. There are people that have started their own businesses. They have left relationships that they knew were no longer serving them. They've gone into relationships because they knew it would serve them. Mm-hmm. They've left careers, moved country. I've had 2 clients. One went to Australia, one went to America. And it's just fascinating. I was thinking about this the other day, actually, because a theme that keeps coming up for me at the moment is about relaxing physically and relaxing into the flow of life. And I was thinking, actually, do you know what? That's a lot of what I do is I when I'm working with somebody, either one-on-one or in group work or however I'm working with them, it's about that self-trust is about relaxing. Mm-hmm. Because when you're relaxed, you can make decisions or make a choice that seems so opposite to what the world, our structure, our society says is the way that we're meant to be. Mm. And yet it feels, or we think it's just go with it. And who knows then what unfolds for us and where that may lead us. And I know for yourself that that's definitely some of the way that you kind of do things. And the kind of, for me, it's about encouraging people to understand how they can relax and be comfortable within themselves.
This is a theme that's running through everything at the moment. It's what a great theme. But we had this conversation. There's a tree in Johnson's Point in Antigua where the guys gather and they chat. They argue about football and politics, but sometimes this amazing piece of wisdom comes out. And they were arguing about whether it was harder to be a plumber or to be a professional cricketer and represent your country. But in amongst this argument, they said, they were talking about Sir Andy Roberts and said, he had natural talent. All he had to do was relax and allow that to come out. And that's pretty much it, isn't it? That's all we need to do is, what gem of wisdom is all of us need to relax and allow our own true selves, our own natural talent to come out and learn to trust that. And to have confidence in ourselves. That's what it is, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think the whole system that we get taken through, the environments that we've grown up in, the education systems we go through, etc., actually we end up, well, I know I certainly ended up taking, I should be this way, or I should be that way, and as a woman I should be doing this, or as a girl I should do this, and then as a woman I should be doing this. And I'm blessed in one sense, is that my birth sign is I'm a Sagittarian, so I'm always going to be pushing against the norm anyway. So I'm blessed with that, and so therefore I've always given myself the opportunity to do things differently, because I knew I couldn't work in a 9-to-5 environment. And yet nonetheless that still created its own constraints, because I still in the back of my head had these rules that I grew up with, of believing that this makes me a good person or this makes me a bad person. And so kind of got that conflict going on internally of what I want to do, and yet would that make me a bad person in those rules? And yet when we do just relax, and even coming into coaching, I never set out to be a coach. This is something that has, and certainly never set out to be a confidence coach, because I didn't have any confidence. So this is all, for me, over the last decade of doing this, the more I relax into it, the more I find magic appears. It's the only way I can describe it. And that makes it sound a bit frou-frou and flashing bubbles and sparkly stuff. And I don't mean that. I just mean conversations like this come about, or opportunities come up that I would never, but they just there. And it's just when we take off all of those kind of coats that we've been wearing for a long time, and just open up and go, do you know what, this feels like I'm running around naked, but I'm okay. I'm okay. And I can be comfortable in being a bit vulnerable in that. I'm just going to trust myself within that. And that's why I get so passionate about this work, because I just meet so many people that are suffering and struggling and feel frustrated with themselves, let alone how their life is.
Yeah.
And I just don't believe it has to be that way.
So you take people into the space where they're listening to themselves and trusting themselves and taking action. So they're essentially then living the life that their true selves are here for. Yeah,
and I suppose in some sense it is about shattering those illusions, shattering those rules, shattering those myths, by just going, is this true?
Yeah.
One client last week said she had this realization and suddenly popped and went, do you know, I'm not going to let that define me. And I then looked into the word define, and it means, if you take it back to the Latin, D means completely, and finire means limit. So
okay.
I define myself as, we are completely limiting
ourselves as
that thing, which means that we're just putting ourselves in a box. Whether that, and it usually relates to our past, which is stuff that we've taken on from other people. So for me, it's about just reflecting that back with people and going, is it true? How what the brain creates and the thinking mind's creating, and let's just challenge it rather than just sit back and go, oh well, that's who I am. So it's about pushing that so that people can then, to me, I just notice people relaxing and feeling comfortable.
So if, because as women, a lot of us are stepping out as women, sharing our messages, and these messages are quite often pioneering the work that people are doing. It feels pioneering, at least to us.
Yeah.
And when you start out, you do feel like vulnerable, and and even that there can be the times that you have a wobble. So like the famous wobble.
No, I've never experienced that. I don't know what you're talking about.
I trust myself. Am I about to, and then the fear comes. Is there something, and I'm asking for myself and anyone else that this will benefit, that we can do in that when we feel that wobble coming?
Yeah, it's two things that I use to remind me, and I use the weather as an analogy a lot to support myself. So whenever I'm, and this kind of stems out of a story that I never get it right. So I'll just tell the tagline as opposed to the whole story. It's to me is this too will pass.
Mm-hmm.
And I always look at the weather and go, do you know what? It's a beautiful sunny day today, and this too will pass. The rain will come at some point, the clouds will come at some point, and they will pass too. So whatever I'm experiencing, whatever that wobble is it's not forever. And as women, unfortunately, we have this bizarre default thing that seems to assume that whatever we're experiencing is forever. So I use the weather as a reminder of whatever I'm experiencing, and that could be happy, excited, joyous stuff too, is this too shall pass. This cloud will keep moving, this sun will keep moving, and that's okay, because we're all evolving and changing. And the second thing is to ask myself, what's the truth? I use the fantasy ladder a lot and talk about, okay, what are the facts of the situation? So like when I'm having a wobble about things, what are the real facts? What do I genuinely know for certain 100% the person could agree on? Mm-hmm. Anything outside of that, I'm adding to, I'm putting colour on it, I'm making up a story, mm-hmm. which is usually most of the time not helpful.
No, it's not. No, it's
so
not.
When I stick with the facts, that even though there's that part of me that wants to make this drama up and kind of go into this, but what if this happens? And it's like, look, just get back to the facts of what's going on right here, right now. And quite often that culminates in the question, okay, from now I know the facts, what can I do from here? And quite often it's like, well, nothing actually. I've done everything. Okay, well then there's no point in going on about it.
All you need to do is relax.
Exactly. Just chill, lady. Chill it.
And enjoy it half the time as well, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's my two port of call. I mean, I've noticed for myself, I mean, I've got a coach. I work on myself. I'm passionate about evolving. So to me, it is about recognizing that does come up. We are human beings. It's natural for us. Well, it's not natural. We've been conditioned to go into this doubt, this worry, this stress, frustration, whatever it may be. So just notice when it happens and look for a different way of being with it.
Brilliant. So this too will pass, look at the facts, and then I'm going to add a third on there, which is the relax.
Yeah, well, that kind of rhymes as well.
That's going to become my mantra.
Look at the facts, relax. I like it.
Yeah. Oh, thanks. I love getting to know more about that, and especially that confidence is self-trust. It's like, oh my goodness, that is, when you have that, you have everything. You have center, you have who you are, and you can live your purpose and share your message. So if people want to contact you, how can they do that? How can they get in touch?
Go either direct to my website, which is juleswyman.com, JULESWYMAN.com, or they can email me, jules@juleswyman.com. I am on Facebook and Twitter. Punch my name in, you will find me. And LinkedIn as well. So yeah.
Lovely. Thank you, Jules. That's absolutely great. And I look forward to more PR with Heart conversations with women with a message. And more coming soon.
Thanks, Kat.
Thank you. Lots of love.